Welcome back. This is the final video in our series on the BBFN housing policy. In this video, we'll explain the policy rules for CP homes, for tenants living in CP homes, and for appeals. As explained earlier in the series, a CP home under this policy is a home on land that is the subject of a certificate of possession. The owner is responsible for the land and building covered by that right of possession and must comply with applicable Boston Bar First Nation laws and policies. Similar to tenants renting BBFN rental units, members holding CP homes must keep their property clean, respect boundaries, protect utility lines, keep utility accounts in their own name, and carry insurance sufficient to cover loss or damage to the home. In simple terms, if the home is a CP home held under a certificate of possession, the member carries the responsibilities that go with that status. In addition, members who hold CP homes are responsible for repairs and maintenance of those homes. Now, it is important to note that CP homes are subject to specific fees. The Housing Committee shall assess a maintenance fee annually on CP homes, with assistance and advice from the First Nations accountant or designate. The fee, however, does have a specific purpose. It is meant to reflect the pro rata portion of total community housing and infrastructure expense not funded by Canada, taking into account all housing on reserve. This means CP homes will still contribute to community housing and infrastructure costs. Now, it is important to acknowledge that the policy also allows a member holding a CP home to rent part or all of that home to a private tenant, as long as the tenancy agreement with that tenant requires the tenant to comply with Boston Bar First Nation laws, bylaws, and policies. Although the home is a CP home, the private tenant will still be treated as a tenant under the policy for certain matters, including conduct on First Nation lands, the outside appearance of the property, storage of objects, warnings, and possible eviction from the First Nation if the rules are not followed. Finally, the policy includes an appeal process. Tenants, owners, and First Nation members may appeal a decision made under the policy on the grounds of an error of fact, an error of law, or an error of procedure, to name a few. However, appeals come with strict timing standards. An appeal must be started within 15 days of notice of the decision being appealed. The notice of appeal shall state the decision being appealed, reasons for appeal, remedy requested, contact information, and any request for accommodation, urgent stay, or oral meeting. The Housing Department shall provide the appellant with the non-privileged documents relied on for the decision, subject to privacy concerns. Then, Council will appoint an appeal panel of 3 impartial persons for each appeal or category of appeals. Finally, the appeal panel may confirm the decision, vary the decision, set it aside, substitute a new decision, remit the matter for reconsideration, impose conditions, extend time, grant a stay, or make another remedy that is consistent with this policy. The main message from this final video is that the housing policy does not only deal with band-owned rental units. It also deals with CP homes, private tenants, and the right to appeal decisions. The goal of this series has been to explain the policy clearly, respectfully, and one step at a time, so members can better understand how housing is managed in the community. Thank you all for taking the time to watch this series and learn about housing policy in your community.